Welcome back to my channel, my dear friends. So today I wanna show you very interesting video. Recently I was browsing for auctions to buy something interesting for my new project, and I found perfect candidate. 1985 Porsche 928S. As you can see from pictures, the car was standing for a long time, a little bit neglected, the color is faded, and as usual, the car who was standing for a while, it needs some love. But I like it, this model. I like that idea that the early models of 928 appreciate fast, and it's becoming quite popular car. And it's Porsche, well built. And the main answer in this video, which I need to answer, can an old cheap Porsche be a good one? So let's stay with me and you will see how much effort and time you need to put to make run again this beautiful car. Let's go. Work is waiting for us, for me. So probably there is a question why specifically this model, because it's only 2 years. But as I mentioned, that nowadays the older style body is getting more and more popular. You know, the 928 market today, most expensive cars are the earliest ones, 78, 79. So, and this one, I like that it was already 5 liters. You know, this engine was not produced in European market. But of course you can say me, oh, but it has 2 big catalytic converters and less horsepower than the European model. This one is 288 for American market with this specification, as I mentioned, the 2 big catalytic converters, this kind of vacuum system for the emission control and so on. But this is also the great news. And there is a 2 ACUs to control the engine and fuel management. So in general, to upgrade, if you want to upgrade this engine, you need to buy 2 chips to change them, to redo exhaust, and you get great results. Maybe in future, if I still have this car, maybe I will do it. Because they claim now you can get around 350 horsepower. Just with 2 chips, increase fuel pressure, redo exhaust. It's very interesting. So I like that idea because European 4.6, 4.7 plus as a US spec model has all the full options that time available with air conditioning, full electric stuff, and in general I like automatic idea. I know, you're thinking why not the stick, but honestly, for the GT cruiser car, I think automatic is even better. It's just relax. Plus, it's not a bad one. It's a Mercedes gearbox. By the way, I found some Mercedes marks on some connectors. So this car is, Porsche Mercedes collaboration. So as you can see, I already proceed in some way in doing stuff. I really enjoy. The quality is very good. There is no absolutely rust. All bolts you can very easy to release. So far so good. I checked the oil is like new. They put it. The people tried to start this car for sure, because I saw they put it already. New fuel filter, fuel pump, new fuel in tank, fuel meter gauge. Here something, but of course, as I mentioned, the injectors was not working. It's for sure. There is a wiring damage clearly, because the TPS and crank sensor, you will not gonna get signal. So I think if you're watching, and you had this project or something, so you perfectly know. Or if you're watching and you're thinking to buy, first impression is very well built car. Of course, do not buy all these junks where is, potentially not possible to to make it run, or it will cost you a lot. So this car so far so good. I found solution also we will see for the interior, because it's cracked panel, standard stuff, as I said, sun shaded this car a little bit. But you will see the development on my, let's say, my first costly mistake, or let's go. I will show you. I started from the fuel tank. I removed the fuel tank. And the problem was that I couldn't remove that internal fuel filter with a connection, because it was broken already, and I understood that it's rusted inside probably, and someone before me tried to change it, but it wasn't successfully. And I thought, I know everything. Let's take a heat fan and let's play. Maybe it will help. And usually it helps with a to heat some or plastic or metal. Sometimes it helps. So as you can see, I started to heat, and it was a problem. I needed to put something inside to be able to turn. But it turns out I took everything with a flange. So now I have a damaged fuel tank. So, that's life. That's my mistake, and I took the lesson. So guys, now I need a new fuel tank. So this is how it goes with a cheap Porsche. As I said, this video is intention to give you answer. Can cheap Porsche be a good one? And at the end of the video, I will see how much time I spent and how much costed me to repair this car, to make it run again. So let's move on another part. So today was a rough day, Actually, as you saw, I made some extra work for myself. I'm talking about fuel tank. So today was idea, try to repair, because I checked quite a lot of money, expensive stuff. So I thought, let's try it. Yesterday I put the old part in a rust binder bucket, and then, and today I tried to separate them. so I can use the old part and then put the new filter. So as you can see now on my video journey, let's see what I did. Very good idea, so you need in future to have also, a heater. And of course I bought this special, epoxy composite, and it's made also for fuel tank, for contact with chemicals and fuel, because you have to remember not all epoxies are good, because some of them the fuel will break, so we need to have a different formula. So as you can see, I started to heat fuel tank again, that I can put internal part, and later I can use my new fuel filter. Quite a dangerous, tricky job, but you have to learn how to use less expenses if it's possible. For Porsche, as I said, all parts are expensive. Fuel tank goes like 500 euros or 700, others asking, and so on, plus shipping. So it's quite a big deal. But as you can see in this video, finally I succeed, and I am happy. I will check tomorrow, after 24 hours, how good sealed it is, and I will put fuel, and then I will try tomorrow to put fuel tank back and see if it holds, if there is no more leaking. So that was today, with my fuel tank. Today I also received some parts. I will show you. So finally came my TPS, throttle position sensor, and also the crank sensor. So I changed the crank sensor already, and TPS is also. So you can see the crank sensor, the old one was already had some issues with a connection, with a wiring, because I think it was like a small fire, maybe not a fire, but something like these wires and others, and I found here some places like wiring fire, let's say. And also throttle position sensor, because I saw that my original one, Bosch, was all in oil, wet, and so on. I don't know. So I just ordered these two new ones, and then that's it. Also, I see that I need to order maybe some air intake sensor and coolant sensors, because they also looks like little bit suspicious for me, So it's the best way, because it's very hard to do the diagnosis. As I said, this car don't have OBD. The basic diagnostics is available for Porsche, but let's say it's not what you imagine. They will not gonna show you exactly the problem. You need to work with oscillograph, with checking a lot of stuff and so on, cosmos things, So yeah, so that's for today. Other parts are coming. I also working on my intake, and we'll go to take back my injectors and trying to put back. But next step is what I do now. I need to work on wiring, So make everything double check that all connections and oxidation, So I need basically to do wiring highness. So okay, let's move on to our process, and let's see. my dear friends, again, update on my project, on a project Porsche 928. The main question still to be answered. Can old and cheap Porsche be a good one? So, okay, I will not gonna tease you. Finally, I did it. But everything from the beginning till the end. So I left you on the moment where I was working on a fuel system. So once again, I had to remove the fuel tank because I missed to connect some hose for the air breathe, for the tank ventilation. I also went to build some special metal connector between the fuel pump and the fuel filter. So bought one more time the original Bosch fuel pump. By the way, guys, this fuel pump do not give any sound. It was mystery for me because later I was looking for the fuel because I thought something wrong, that fuel is not coming because I didn't hear anything from the fuel pump. So the fuel pump is working new now perfectly, but it doesn't give any sound. So you have to remember that. So another thing, let's move what I had some kind of issues doing the repair. So after fixing the fuel system and the fuel tank and everything, I was starting to work on electronics. So all the harness wiring, I took it out and I tested all the connections, you know, and of course I found some cracked, you know, injector connectors and so on. So you have to remember that yes, this is kind of old Bosch, as I remember, GTP connectors. You have to have them to buy. Also, you will need, I needed to build like, you know, the crank sensor and the TPS sensor. So you need this stuff. I also opened the ACUs and I saw that one is already changed. I don't know, maybe it was because, as I mentioned it, the small was fire and maybe it was the damaged old ACU, I don't know, but I already saw that it was bought another one. But nevertheless, at the end it was good started. So the biggest issue I got when I was putting back the throttle intake, and you know, with the intake manifold fixing points, and here you will see, I will show you the videos, you see that there is such a three rubbers, 3 points where you have to put, and the rubber was, you know, already old, and I needed to take out, so it's all kind of procedure, you know, to remove the old and put the new. It takes time, but successfully I did it. So it was ready, you know, to start putting everything back. So I had some issues with injectors, as I mentioned. I tested, cleaned all, but putting back, I changed the small rubbers for the injectors and so on, but I was putting back and I damaged one again and remove again. So let's say working on this car, you know, I needed to take many times, same process, same steps, so on. So in general, you know, yeah, and by the way, intake collector also, the middle part is not easy to put and there is some sequences, you know, depending. So, but on REN list you can find everything. So the biggest advice, I remember, we had a client like this Porsche like 20 years ago, I remember, but we didn't make it to fix that time, and I know now where was the mistake. When you have 9 to 8, please do not look for the specific mistake. You just need to change everything. I mean, I'm talking about, first of all, new relays. 16th, 20th, and 25th position is most important. So it's a fuel pump, EZF, and LH, and the computer. So, you just buy and you just put new. You just don't even try to test old, find something. You just forget. You just buy. The same is as I said, with all the main important sensors. Like crank, TPS, you just buy new and you just change. Don't even try to find out is it good, bad. Wiring, also take out, check every connection, and change. You will need also change the connectors for the injectors or whatever, or build new wiring at all, and so on. But this is the crucial point, Otherwise, it can be very difficult. And clean and repair all grounds. Engine grounds, computer grounds, very important, So this is the main stuff. Vacuum lines. I show you here a very nice diagram I found. It helped me also. But yeah, vacuum lines you have to learn by heart, and you will learn it then because it's also processed 10 times. And the hardest one, which I have to do now, and I have still one because it's a separator with 7 vacuum lines, each 3 fuel regulators each has and so on, but for the automatic gearbox, because it goes through the shaft and so on, it's quite a tricky one, so I still need to do. New valve gaskets, rings, for spark plugs also, you just change because, just to avoid oil leaks and so on. New powerful battery, 82 amps. I installed some cooling hoses. You will ask at the end. You will see, and you will ask why I didn't repaint the intake manifold. Why I didn't, I took it apart. I cleaned. I didn't change yet the rubber mounting points, the intake manifold, which need to be done. But I wanted to leave it patina style because the car is, as you see, is a patina style, and probably I will do some polishing and so on. But it's gonna be how it looks like. It's not gonna be repainted or something. It's a patina style. So the engine I also wanted to leave, like nothing happened. It just wake up from coma after 20 years, 10 years. So, okay, it's a preference. And of course, it's expensive because, it's like 500-600 euros, just to repaint and so on and stuff. So now the most important thing is, tell me your opinion, headlights. You know that I like to do, period correct mods, tuning stuff, and I work exclusively with a Marshall light. For me, personally, is the best ones. I don't put Hell SCB. Okay, I did a Austin Mini. I needed to put, period correct. So it was Lucas, British, also nice. So I have 2 nice Starlux 709 Marshall yellow ones, and I want to do turn signals white. So we will see the final version. Values of this model. Guys, this is old body, 5 liters engine. Ask ChatGPT, I already did, ask. You see the numbers, 2,100 something only. It's very rare and very good car in terms from 9 to 8 models. to keep it, to have it, to collect, and to grow the value. So of course, there is, things still need to be done, like interior, whatever. If we will do the dash for the Alcantara and so on, we will see. I also repaired the sunroof. It was easy, motor is separate, you just need 3 screws, open up, put back fresh fuel. Yeah, so, and only 120 hours spent. I started, honestly, I will tell you, I started on 12th of March and I finished yesterday, 1st of April. So 3 weeks, 120 hours, and you can drive a Porsche. Of course, I saw now there is some small gearbox oil leak and some stuff, but it works, engine, it works nice. So guys, can cheap and old Porsche be a good one? Finally, yes, if you can handle, if you know how to do it, if you know, and of course you need luck also. I will tell you honestly, I had a presumption that I will spend more time because, let's say but as I said, I went this route to change everything, to just go in general, not to try to find by small points, it's very hard. If you will look just, where is the problem? No, it's everywhere. As I said, the corroded contacts, grounds, and that's it. But now it's a smile on a face, and I'm happy. And I think anyone who will buy this car in future will be happy. So please comment, what do you think about the headlights? Which color you would prefer? Which style, if you would see the original round? It has rounded headlights, and now it's a flat. I changed not only color, I changed the design, and I changed how it looks. So, guys, can old and cheap Porsche be a good one? Yes, it can. So, good luck. Thank you. Please don't forget to subscribe my channel.